Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop. So in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about fire safety in the blacksmith shop and what I'm doing about it. So just recently I've done a video, a lot of y'all seen it, Roy's big fire safety plan, where I highlighted basically my thoughts and feelings on what I'm going to be doing for fire safety in this building. A lot of you guys had some great comments and some things that I could think about for some nice cheaper alternatives. One of those we'll get to here in just a little bit that a guy had mentioned, and it requires going outside the shop. But for right now, I went out and picked up just 2 fire extinguishers for right now. Eventually I plan on having a total of 6 to 8 fire extinguishers in this shop. Not just this portion here, but the actual forging area. Some might say that's a little overkill. I want them to be posted at least, probably right along the walls. So wherever there's going to be a room, I want there to be a fire extinguisher in that room. For God forbid if something were to happen, it's right at the handy, right? You can just turn in any one direction, you can access a fire extinguisher. I feel the most safe about that. I think that it just pays to have a good amount of fire extinguishers around. Now, one of the comments that come in that these chemical fire extinguishers won't do a whole lot of good on like an old wooden barn like this if there was ever something to catch fire in here. I'm not quite sure about that myself, but these Kid brand fire extinguishers, I got the commercial, primary use commercial fire extinguishers, and I do air quotations because when you buy it from Home Depot, is it really commercial? I don't know. Anyways, it says fights fires common to the home involving wood, paint, flammable, liquids, and energized electrical equipment. And then I'm just not going to get into the rest of the junk. It's just telling its UL ratings and all of that good stuff. So a fire extinguisher is better than not having a fire extinguisher. So this is one of the first preventative methods. Of course, these are the taller bottles, or these are the larger bottles, the largest I could pick up at Home Depot anyhow. And I hope to, pick up a bunch more of these. Comment down in the comment section if you work with the fire, if you work with fire and stuff, if this brand, this Kid brand, is any good. And if not, I may just go look up my local fire department and just ask them what's the best fire extinguisher for the stuff I'm doing. In fact, that's probably the safest route to actually go if you are wondering on getting fire extinguishers for your own shop, is just tell them what you're doing and they can kind of give you some recommendations on what to do usually. So that's probably the route I'm going to go, but if you guys got any helpful information, chuck it in the comment section down below. So let's go outside now and go take a look at what else I'm doing for the fire. Okay, so here we are outside, and this is the next step of the fire safety. Now I went out and got myself also at the Home Depot, hashtag not a sponsor of this video. Anyways, I went out and got this kind of a fire hose styling, if you will, spray nozzle, and this here is 75 foot of water hose. The trick to this is, and if you didn't know, this place here had no outdoor water spigots whatsoever on it when we purchased this place. I have no clue why you wouldn't do that. Maybe they were just being cheapos, but anyways, so I ended up having to run all new water. I had to run a new hose bib, do the plumbing myself, come out from underneath the house with it, from the well pump and everything, come out with a new hose. So there's an outdoor spigot here. Now the big grand plan eventually is to run water all the way to the shop and trench it. The reason why I haven't done that is because that is some additional costs and things to consider with, because right across this area here, I have what they call a raised septic system. So it has a pump and it pumps it up to a raised leach field, if you will, a raised leach field. And so with that being said, I'm not sure which way that runs. I think I know, but I need to find out more in detail before I can just trench me out a big old 4-foot deep trench to run a water line right all the way out to the workshop. So with that being said, the next best option is a garden hose extending clear from the house. Now, eventually I will be putting a hose reel up here. It's going to be very similar to John Switzer's hose reel, except, you know, my own little artistic flares that I like to do with it. But big shout out to him. If you haven't seen his wire reel or garden hose reel that he has there, I will drop a link to that down in the description down below, and at the end of this video I will put that that garden hose reel there that John Switzer did, and then that way you guys, when I make mine, you guys can see how they compare, which is kind of fun, you know, to just put your own spin on things. But anyways, so this is the hose situation that I've got going on, because what one of the commenters has said is that, you know, water will, you know, be your best friend, and somebody had even mentioned that just water with dish liquid soap, like Dawn dish liquid soap, is pretty good at fighting fires as well. So I don't know about that. I'm not even sure how I would hook something up like that to this system here, but I'm all ears. So if you know better ways of fighting fires and things of that nature, put it down in the comment section down below. Now, I will go ahead and give this my last little preface here. As I'm working on this, I only have so many funds and I only have so many daylight hours. You know, I have to get work done so I can be able to afford to feed my family and to be able to upkeep the place and keep the doors of the shop open. And then whatever money I've got left, I'm spending at upgrading this place a little bit at a time as I can get to it. And so many of us are in that same exact position, and that's okay. It's okay for you to be in that position right now that, you know, hey, lighting, okay, I got lighting done, good. Okay, next, you know, yeah, I need a water spigot out to the shop. Okay, well, how much is that going to cost? Count up your costs. If it's going to take a couple weeks, months, even a year to get something like that so you can be much safer, put that on the goal board, the to-do list to put into practice. But don't feel bad if you just can't do it right now at this point in time. Just keep building into it. Rome wasn't built in a night or in a day, as some people say, you know, and it sure as heck wasn't built last night, and I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. In fact, I wasn't even born with a wooden spoon in my mouth. So, you know, doing stuff like this, I work hard for everything I get, and spending $75 on a water hose, it really kicks you right in the patookie when it's a water hose, man. Whatever happened to cheap hoses? Anyways, that's a rant for another day. But yeah, so this is the next process along in this journey, is I'm going to get one more $75 water hose. That way I can get to anywhere inside of my shop, which will be good. That's just an additional safety concern. So I feel much more comfortable having water outside the house now. That's going to be a great benefit, especially filling slack tubs and stuff like that. So now I know what some of you are probably saying, but Roy, what about in the winter months when it gets down to super negative cold temperatures here in Michigan? You know, because apparently I've moved to the Arctic Circle up here in Michigan. What are you going to do about that if you have a hose reel all the way outside hanging from the side of your house? And that is a great question that you have probably already thought up of, and you are going to type, and now I'm going to ruin it for you. So I have this 55-gallon drum. If you guys remember the drum video that I had made about taking and making myself a new slack tub, this is a 55-gallon drum of water, and it stays heated all winter long, or will be. I've got a stock tank heater to take and keep the water from freezing over, and although this isn't as handy as just having water on the tap over at the house, there's one way that we can make this even better. Now, I understand 55 gallons of water is not that much water, especially if you're talking about having to try to extinguish flames, but bear with me. So what I have is this right here. This is a Flowtech water pump. Basically, I used this when I worked heating and air conditioning and when I did plumbing for a while, and pipe fitting. I do this for draining water heaters. One end of the hose here, the inlet hose, it would obviously go to the water heater, but in this case, you'll stick it right down inside of the 55-gallon drum, and out the other side is a mount that you can screw on that hose like what we had outside. So I plan on having a much shorter hose just inside the shop here, probably going to be hanging somewhere on this wall with another little bit of a hose reel, or probably just a hook for it, because it's going to be a fairly small hose, and it will be attached to this and always and already mounted and ready to go. The reason for that being is time is of the essence. Say if there is something, it has gotten out of control and you're in here and you can do something about it. Just being able to flip a switch on this and go to spraying right away is a lot more time saving than going clear back out over to the house, turning on the water, stretching the hose, maybe opening up the barn, trying to thread it through, doing all that. That all takes time, precious moments in time. So having this, again, as I said, it's a common sense thing. Most blacksmithing, most safety concerns are common sense related. So you get complacent, and then that's what causes fires. I don't plan on doing that, clearly. So again, I plan on using this. Again, it's Flowtech. I forget now how many gallons per minute this pump was. Actually, I think it says right. Nope, that's just the amp draw on it. I forget how many gallons a minute that this pump was rated for, but I know that it would suck down a 55-gallon water heater pretty darn quick. So it'll definitely have plenty of power to pump and spray whatever I need to inside the shop here. So those are my plans, or the finalization of my fire management plans. I just kind of wanted to do a follow-up video to that original fire plan video. And I kind of want to encourage you that, safety is a #1 priority in your shop. If you are a blacksmith, you don't want to lose all the tools that you've worked so hard for in your entire life, to just lose it all to a fire. And there's a lot of guys that unfortunately lose their shops to, again, quench oil fires, things of that nature. If you have an oil fire on hand, you better use either a dry chemical fire extinguisher, and that's right as you're calling the fire department right then and there. Absolutely do not use water on an oil fire. It will spread. There was a couple guys that actually did that I knew, a couple older gentlemen, that somebody decided to throw water on an oil fire, and it just spread across the shop like you wouldn't believe, and the whole thing was engulfed. It wasn't a matter of minutes, and the whole thing had burnt down. So the fire department didn't have nothing to do when they got there. So again, it's a big deal. Be careful out there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be careful inside this shop, and I just think that this is going to be an absolute wonderful shop, and I love being able to do this type stuff. It makes me so excited to get out here and work in this new space each and every day. So I hope you guys go out to your own spaces and that you all will enjoy doing that today. If you'd like to support more content like this, a great way of you doing that is just sharing this around with your friends, and maybe even consider going over to our website, blacksmithpdfs.com, and consider purchasing a power hammer plan or an ebook bundle over there. Those go a long way towards helping us produce daily content here at Christ and Ironworks, and we appreciate each and every last one of our channel sponsors, which is you, the audience. So without further ado, I'm going to get back to work. God bless you, and we will catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.